Yo, welcome to the channel. So this is obviously the GHC, a dedicated electrical channel. So today, I hope you've had a better start of the day than I've had. So I'm going to give you a little rundown on what a nightmare I've had so far. Right, roll the intro. Welcome back to the channel. Turns out the tenant, he's not playing ball. Warranty work, should we say, for these lights, which have been an absolute nightmare. This customer is actually a subscriber, and I'd like to say he took note. Thanks for my tea. So as you can see, this is an amazing house, but we've got a problem. Would I be fitting these ground lights to any other job? The answer is no. So if you're new to this channel, I really appreciate you clicking on. Out of the millions and millions of other channels you could have chose, you chose my one. So thank you very much. And if you're enjoying this so far, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. The link is in the corner, and yeah, help the channel to grow and build this amazing electrical community that we've got. The key to running any successful business is about being organised, right? So we can get everything organised, all in one place, have all the parts delivered, everything is all hunky-dory. So this is Monday morning for me. Basically got to do a little job in a bedsit, and I have turned up 10 minutes early, funnily enough, got all my kit out the van, and we are all ready to go. Turns out the tenant, he's not playing ball. He does not want us in the property at all, and has left the key in the back of the lock, so we can't gain access. So after speaking to the landlord, this is not the first time that this wonderful tenant has done stuff like this before. So I want to know in the comments as well below is who gets charged for this waste of time, because at the minute I am out of pocket, and it is very, very annoying because obviously every hour that passes costs the business money, and obviously not very good, is it? That is not what I'm here for now, but luckily enough I've got some fantastic customers. If you're already a subscriber to the channel, you may recognize this one where we started the rewire probably a year ago, and it's had so many stops and starts and all the rest of it because the clients are trying to do as much as they can, which is absolutely fine, and I've given them a ring. They are so close to getting the property finished. So I've given them the ring and says, look, I've got the next couple of days, it's up to you, what do you want? So we're coming in, we're gonna get as much second fix done as we possibly can for them because they are so close. So I was here last week where we did the first fix of the kitchen. Let's go and have a look. So this is the tiny kitchen, a tiny little kitchen extension that they've had done, with also, it's going to be, down here is a downstairs toilet in that area. So Jack and myself was here, we got on with all the first fix here, so it's all ready to go. Although once I left, the clients actually asked me, said, oh, can we have a security light off the back of this? So I've got to put one more cable in. So that's fine, that's not a problem. So we got all the first fix done in this one, so hence the reason why we're starting to make progress back, and that's why I'm in regular contact, which is great. So this morning I've just got the smoke alarm to do upstairs, so we've got this one that I've just done a second ago. Just finished off a socket that was needed because, like I say, they're doing bits and bobs, hence the reason why they've got all the plaster and stuff like that, plastering stuff sorted. So I've just fitted this. So that double socket there, I've just literally finished that. So then that means, I think that was the last point in the downstairs ring for that to be sorted. So that's okay. Obviously all the kitchen extensions all on its own. So we've got a kitchen ring main in there, kitchen lighting circuit, and cooker circuits, things like that. So what's left for me today to try and get on with, I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to get all this done. I've got to pick and choose. So I've got my board here ready to go. I've also got everything mounted up, ready to drop the board, which is going in that location. Then that temporary supply can come off. So that can come off because that has been here since day one. And just here on the floor, there was a huge monkey puzzle tree outside, and the roots were actually coming through the floor. So the floor, no exaggeration, was like that. So it was probably a foot difference as you're walking through. So a bit random, I know, but that's what it was. Which means I can get rid of that if I get everything powered up. But also, it just depends on whether I get all the first fix sorted, because obviously we've got lots of different circuits, so it's not a big deal. But in the loft, which is this beauty, has got a proper set of stairs going on. The loft up there, we have got a big strip light that needs to go up, and we've got a socket circuit up there because we've got the boiler up, which is mounted in the loft, which I haven't actually seen yet, but the boiler's up there now apparently. And also they want a, hang on, it'll come to me.
A few moments later.
Network switch, yes, jackpot, got there in the end. So that needs to go up there as well. So I'm probably going to err on the side, getting all the scruffy work done. It's horrible because it's the afternoon now. It is now 12:30. 12:30, that was very posh of me, wasn't it?
Too jazzy?
So yeah, so I've obviously got the extractor fan to do, which is for the bathroom. So enough waffling, I better get on with some work, eh? So first things first, let's get this smoke alarm done. So I bet you're wondering, what smoke alarms, Mikey? What smoke alarms are you fitting? And do you know what? I'm going to tell you what smoke alarms we're fitting, and they are my standard go-to. I'm going to be honest, I've been using these for a long, long time. Not sponsored by these at all. I'm going to be honest, it genuinely isn't. So these are my ACO optical smoke alarms, and that's about as much information as you need to have. Although they are interlinked, which is what we need. Which interlinked, if you're not quite sure what that means, it means that when this one is activated up here, it sends the signal down to the one underneath to say, oh, we might want to activate that one too. So that is what it is. That is what it means when they are hardwired, interlinked smoke alarms. So, you may be wondering why we've got the blue cover still on, and the reason behind that is because, as you can see, it's still a building site and there's going to be an absolute ton of dust because there's still a lot of sanding and rubbing down and things like that that's going on, obviously with the plasterer, so you don't want to be leaving all of your brand new smoke alarms to get contaminated. So when the clients have all done with all the mess, they can take all those off and they can be put into use properly. They're still going to be all powered up, ready to go, but obviously right now, that is the way to go. Right, a decision has been made, and I'm going to be honest, I think I'm going to sort out all the loft stuff today for what's left of the afternoon. I think that's going to be the priority, so we're going to turn the whole video into how to get up a nice new loft light, socket up there, and all the rest of it. So let's go and jump up and see how much light we haven't got right now. So one of the bonuses of having this type of ladder means it's a nice, safe environment to go up. So I think we can agree, I'm going to need some lighting up here. Now, I can't work like this. Right, 2 seconds. And as if by magic, we now have some light up here. So with the site light, because let's be honest, there's no way I'm going to be able to work up here without it, because it's just too dark. But since I was last here, it's all been boarded out, which is great because for me it makes a much nicer environment to work in, because without it, it's a right mess, isn't it? So it looks like it's had a re-roof as well, which again is another great wish. That must have been a right mess since last time I was here doing all that. So yeah, so they've had loads of work done on this house. I think it's just, in fairness, I think it's been a bit of a money pit, in all honesty. So let's go and have a look at the cables. As you can see, we've got our boiler all mounted here. We've got our control for it right there. So what we need to do is mount a fuse spur next to that. And obviously what we'll then do is put our another fuse spur, which will control the lights off that side. And then with here, so we've got all these cables that are brought through. So on this side, we've got a load of stuff for network and aerial boosters and all the rest of it. So I have got in this one here, so this is my feed coming up. So this is my feed coming up. So what we'll do is we'll mount a double socket here, because that will take care of the network switch and the aerial booster. That will take care of that, and then we'll bring it across, go through the wall, and then go into the actual back for the fuse spur and then come across. And then I've got the extractor fan to do. So there's the extractor fan, there's the ducting, and there's the tile vent. But I know that the roofer, when they put that on, he's thrown away the ducting adapters, so we'll have to try and sort that out as well, but that's not going to be today. So what we're going to be mounting, we have got a 4-foot single LED strip light, which we're going to mount up sort of up here, which I think actually will give the best light in here. So I think what we'll do, we'll go from here and work sort of backwards. We'll drop the cable down to roughly where you're speaking and down that wall there. Obviously we'll need to downgrade the power supply, because up here we've got a 20 amp power supply that comes up. We need to downgrade that because it's too much. We can't have that for the lighting, but we'll go through all that in a second. If you're new to the channel and you haven't yet subscribed, make sure you do. Sort your life out, get it sorted, links in the corners. Push. We've now got all the kit up, so it's time to just stay up here and get this job sorted. So first things first, let's get that light unwrapped and get it mounted on the ceiling. Right, so on these ones, you've got a slide switch at the very back of them, which will allow that to drop down. A pretty straightforward light. So what they tend to come with, they're colour selectable as well. So they've got little micro switches in here. So if you can just see those, there's little tiny dip switches. You can choose whatever you fancy. So we've got our cable entry point up here. So what I'm going to do is leave this on, because what I tend to find is when you start messing about with those, when it's above your head, it's always a little bit awkward. And we will mount this up there.
Perfect.
So we're going to sort out the pattress here for the boiler, but first things first, what I need to do is knock the back of these out. So these are the soft moulded pattresses, a lot better than the actual like Bakelite ones, because they actually withstand a lot more of potential knocks and things like that. So obviously with people throwing bits of storage stuff, because this is what it is, a storage space, it's obviously not a garage loft conversion, sorry. So that's what it is. So mount that onto the floor like that, down on the bottom, and then punch through with your cutters, and you'll have the knockout came out every time. You'll never break the back of the pattress like that, as long as that's on a flat surface. So what we're going to do, going to mount this up down here like so. I'm going to mark it through, because what we're going to do is I'm going to drill all the way through that wall to so then I've got a marking straight where my cable's got to come through for the power supply. So let's do that.
A few moments later.
Right, as with anything, as per usual, my battery's flat. I need to jump down, go in the van and sort it. Whew, join me once I've drilled that through. Okay, so we've got our 2-gang mounted up this side. We've drilled all the way through. So we've now just clipped the cables along the bottom and put a stuffing gland there, as you can see. So what we're going to do, we're going to terminate this side, push that through, and then by mounting that there, it allows me to have a little bit of room for the other bits and bobs that are going on here. So you've got your aerial booster and your internet connection on here. Your internet switch can go up there. So it sort of ties it all in, and then they'll just plug, both of those would plug directly into there. And then that will lead round into this side where we've got our 2 fuse spurs. So the one closest to the boiler will be actually for the boiler, and this one will be for the light switch. So while we sort this out, so what I've done now is I've drilled through both of the pattresses. Tell you what, let's get a closer look. Let's have a look in here. So what I've done is I've drilled through now both sides. We've got our cables all terminated, ready to go. So there's going to be a fuse spur on here, which is then going to take this cable So this one's going to be cut off. That's going to go into there. Then this one is going to go up into here because this is going to be my lighting. And this is going to be obviously the power supply for the boiler. Now I've just clipped direct onto the wall because it's clear it's obviously never going to be boarded or anything like that because it's the loft. So I need another stuffing gland to come up into here to bring that through. But like an idiot, as usual, I've forgotten to bring that from the van. So we'll have to go and get that. Right, so fingers crossed. I've got another one. I should have. A little beauty. So I need one of those. Now my van is starting to become a little bit of a mess, and obviously it's all a brand new bot smart van system, and because of the jobs of how they've happened and they keep getting delayed and changes and this, that and the other, it's now becoming I'm ending up with too much stuff in here. So this is all gonna have to go. So, but not today. Cool. Right, so that's all ready to go. I'm not going to fit this right now because I'm not going to have the power on today. But essentially, that's going to be going up like that. And then we're going to bring this one round into there. We're now fitting the fuse spur. So, well, the fused connection unit as such. So, obviously with the fuse spur, for those of you who do know what it does, then just tune out for 2 minutes. But obviously, if you don't and you want to know, so essentially you can have like 20 amp circuit, which is what this is. So you'll have 20 amp supply coming in, and then with the aid of a fuse, which is hence the reason why it's a fuse connection unit. So inside here, there is a small fuse, and this one is come standard as with a 13 amp, but obviously because of what we're trying to do, we need to downgrade the supply from 20 amps to a 5 amp supply. 3 amp will be more than enough, in fairness, for this light that we've got. We change that fuse, and then that becomes a safe installation because you've downgraded the supply, because that cable, which is only a 1mm cable, is not designed to take 20 amps. And that is why you'd fit a fuse connection unit. Now from here, you could then put it as a non-switch spur, for example, where it just has the actual fuse part in it, and we could put a switch mounted elsewhere as like a standard light switch, but we're not going to do that because there's no point adding extra things to it. Equally with the boiler doesn't need a 13 amp supply, so that also needs to be downgraded to 3, probably more likely a 5 in here, but a 3 is probably more than enough than what it is. So you need to make sure that you are installing the right type of fuse, the right ampage for the installation. So don't just leave the 13 amp in and think that's okay, but it's because it's not. All right, lesson learned. I'd also like to point out, because this is the end of the line and you've only got one, you should always double over your terminals. So you see how that is? So always double over the terminals, because as you can imagine, if you just had the single in there, as you tighten it up, it gives you a high probability that that will come out over time and slip out. Always double them up, takes seconds, and it's a proper job. Okay, so just to prove a point, here is our 3 amp fuse. You can just about see it if I just do it this way. There is 3 amps clearly stated on there, and that is going in. Okay, so no one can excuse me of, yeah, you're not putting it in. Well, we are. Ready? Let's do it together. Come on, all you little doubters. Let's get her in there. There you go. So that's that one, and then we're also going to put one in for the boiler. There you go. Like I've said before, I'm not going to be connecting the boiler cable up today because I'm not going to have time to get the board all on and done and dusted. But that essentially is the job in a nutshell. We came up there with a radial, 20 amp, ready for the other supplies, brought it back round this way for the controls, and we are coming up. Here we go. All the clipped along, shoots up that rafter and then straight into the light. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please make sure you do. The link is in the corner. It's completely free, and let's help the channel grow. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one where I'm changing that board.